Hey guys, welcome to another week of Comic Talk. I'm the Cube, and I'm back again reviewing Great Lakes Avengers #2, and we have some funny developments in the world of the Great Lakes Avengers, now newly reinstated after getting the licensing back from somebody spelling the Avengers wrong, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the first issue. So it starts off with Bertha, Val, Doorman. They're all sleeping in their new apartment when suddenly music awakes Bertha, who couldn't stay asleep, and everybody else is passed out. She gets really angry and decides to go to the club next door that seems to be making all the racket. They make their way through the club. Doorman makes a funny joke to the bartender, talking about some crazy drink that's impossible to make. Bertha gets really fucking angry at the owner of the bar, who seems to know about each of the Great Lakes Avengers. His name is Nain Rouge. He's French. He basically says that he was a hero at one point, bought the club, decided to hit the party life and be a bad guy. He makes some insults and he makes jokes about the rest of the Great Lakes Avengers to Bertha's face. She smashes him and his team through a wall and they end up in jail. It cuts to good boy, the newest member of the Great Lakes Avengers, who is a werewolf, which is not the first one we've seen, but definitely not gonna be the last one from what I can tell. Her name is Good Boy. She decides to basically go and get revenge on Rouge Rain, who basically says that her and her brother are criminals and that all villains should be treated like heroes. So she goes and throws a bottle at his head. It cuts to Mr. Immortal doing his thing in his coffin. If you guys haven't been keeping up with that, he basically trapped himself inside of a coffin to kind of get away from society, and he paid his friend to give him water and give him a breathing tube so he could survive in the hole for however long. And what ends up happening is when he decides to leave, he puts a cork in the air tube so he dies, and Doorman senses his death, or him knocking on death's door, and goes to save him from the coffin. But while he's gone, basically Bertha and Val have to save Good Boy from the cops because she goes nuts after getting arrested from throwing the bottle at Rouge. It ends with her joining the Great Lakes Avengers and almost getting lawyered up the ass by Rouge Rain for assaulting him with a bottle, but then she ends up working it out with the Avengers. It was a pretty okay chapter, I gotta admit. I really enjoyed Doorman and Mr. Immortal. They haven't really stopped the joke train yet. Everybody seems to be full of them. Freaking Val even has a couple of them where they make jokes that he's Mr. Fantastic, even though we've heard him 100 times and never gets old when somebody mistakes him for it. The fact that basically Mr. Immortal uses his own death to lure Doorman there is pretty amazing. I really enjoyed this chapter. The art was decent. I guess it was pretty okay, but what I most enjoyed was the writing. The jokes couldn't have been better, especially when Doorman forces Mr. Immortal out of the coffin even though he doesn't want to leave. He makes jokes about how bad it smells in there, probably because he shit himself over the past year and whatnot. We got Good Boy joining the Avengers, and I think that's about it.